Hello, I'm Dov Ben-Shimon, and I'm the CEO of our Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West. It's a new year. I know it feels like we're still in March, but surprisingly, here we are, 6 months into this pandemic, and about to start the new reading cycle of the Tanakh with Bereshit, the first weekly portion. You probably know how this portion plays out. God creates the world, ceases work on the seventh day, God forms humans, Garden of Eden, sin of the forbidden fruit, Cain and Abel, and the generations of Eve's third son Seth, whose 8th generation descendant Noah is the only righteous man in a corrupt and wicked world. There's a lot to unpack here. Way too much for a 5-minute taste from a Federation exec. So I just want to focus on something that's always puzzled me. Think this through with me for a minute. What was God's first act of creation on the very first day? It was to create light. God says, "Let there be light," and there was light. The light that God creates at the very beginning divides time in the world between day and night, and we use that divide itself to define each of the following days of creation. But what happens on the 4th day of creation? On the 4th day, God creates the sun and the moon. So where does the light come from? If light was created on the first day and the sun is only created on the 4th, where do we get the first light from? In Kabbalistic thought, it's called the Or Ganuz, the buried light, reserved only for the truly righteous to see. It's hard for many of us to fully accept this version, since the whole purpose of light is to illuminate. Why would you hide it? The Malbim, a 19th century Ukrainian commentator, says that the light is created in day 1, but only gathered and stored in the sun on day 4. Others say that God's presence in the Shekhinah itself is light, and it refers to a line in Psalm 104 that we read on Rosh Chodesh that talks of God wearing light, oteh or, as a cloak. Some modern day commentators explain the difference by saying that the order of creation isn't literal or isn't chronological, it's just a metaphor. Here's what I think. Right now, in the middle still of this pandemic, what will remain from everything we have in 100 years? Everything, everyone that we built in this community in Greater Metro West. What will remain? Maybe a few of our buildings, hopefully our books, but definitely a legacy of family, community, love, and light, if you let it. Light is communal. Isolation, being alone, is darkness. And living in a community means committing and recommitting ourselves every day to bringing more light into the world. Emerson said, "It's only when it's dark enough that you can see the stars. When it feels like the worst of times, we commit and recommit to bringing more light into the world." So how do we do that? We deepen strong interfaith and neighborhood partnerships. We build up further our relations with our political leaders. We build coalitions and alliances. We vote. We commit to civic participation and outreach. And we deepen our commitment to Jewish education, community building, and resilience while supporting our own community institutions. There's always more for us to do. Martin Luther King said that darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. We are, Aristotle said, social animals. We can't live without each other. And living together banishes that darkness, no matter what day of the week it may be. May we all live to see more light, more love, and more community this coming year. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom from New Jersey.